Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by
Shannon D.
Jake Davis. It's me, the big one, the one that's large, size of a building, some say.
I say bigger than any building. He's so big, there's a city on that man. The city of dreams, Atlantis, underwater.
Atlantis is on me?
He's got a growth, and Atlantis is in the growth.
That's where it's been this whole time.
It's not water, it's pus. That's what the liberal media.
They don't want you to know.
They don't want you to know.
No, but we got a ton of secrets in there. Microwaves that don't use radiation.
Ooh.
Yeah. The secret formula to Krabby Patties.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, don't they say that the secret formula is like it's crab, right?
It's crab?
They say it's
We're
somebody-
sorry. The Shannon you have dialed is not currently available.
They say like the
That
theory is that it's like fish or like one of the creatures and that he's been like killing.
Oh, one of
them.
the actual characters. Okay, yeah.
Not just the characters, but like
He's
multiple
Soylent
of them.
Greening the fish at Bikini Bottom.
Ooh, well put.
I feel like there's always really dark, grim theories to kids shows like that, and I can't imagine that that's actually what's going on.
What's his nuts? Stephen Hillenbrand, I believe his name is. Somebody was saying like there was some Twitter thread about how it's all very accurate. Like, so one of the creatures that you're like, oh, isn't that a zany, kooky guy? And it's like, no, it actually looks exactly like the real.
Oh, yeah, he was a marine biologist.
Yeah, like whatever octopus or what, I can't name any marine animals, but like you would look at it and be like, that's a cartoon fish. And it's like, no, that actually is what they look like. And that's where their face is. Like they really are that ugly.
I like the idea
Yeah.
of Danny being a marine biologist, but hating his job. And anytime you're down there, just like, look at that fucking thing.
Yeah, it's a dolphin. People like them. They're fucking loud.
You know, dolphins are monsters, right? They're cruel. They're mean creatures. They like us.
I
I think you're stereotyping a little
They
bit. Yeah, they're
don't-
like us. I think they're multifaceted, multidimensional creatures.
Look, there's roving bands of male dolphins that go around doing terrible things to other dolphins and like other
really?
fish. Yeah,
Well, they're very smart, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like the third
Yeah.
smartest animal or something. So obvious. So it just feels like they will definitely have a lot of layers. What does that mean?
I just like the animal intelligence playoffs every year. I just like dolphins looking strong this year.
Hi, folks. It's me, Craig Stephenson, here with the Animal Intelligence Breakdown. Pigs once again leading the pack to no one's surprise. Golden Retrievers trying to make some noise, but here come those frisky dolphins.
This is Awkward Chuck, our sponsor this year, Oscar Mayer. We have been obliterating. Anyway, this is a very whimsical opening to actually a very grounded and awesome episode concept. I mean, we've traveled these roads many times, but Shannon wanted to go down them once again. It's a wedding app, people.
Woo woo! Dun 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 dun.
Or at Shannon's wedding. Da 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 da, because she's evil.
I thought you guys
joke.
were doing the Imperial March at first.
I did too. I got lost. They're kind
They're
of
pretty
similar.
close.
Is that
They're
the
all-
Pachy-Bell thingy where they're all Pachy-Bell? Anyway, we got a juicy have for you today, folks. Oh my God, many little wedding stitches. Some of them are quickies, some of them are longies. How about that? You never hear that. Hey, babe, let's have a longie. Huh? That's fun.
I think that's just
I'm
having
so
good
low.
sex.
Yeah, I don't know, Jake. I don't know. I don't know. Our second story of the day, AITA for wanting my bridesmaid to dye her hair. But first, folks, it's would I be the asshole if I put that a minimum of $50 gifts are mandatory? Is it rude to put on invitations that gifts of $50 or more are mandatory? My fiance and I have a lot of people in our families that love to show up empty-handed to events. Parenthetical, they can afford to bring something, which is really distasteful to me. One of our love languages is receiving gifts, and I feel it's befitting for them to at least come to the wedding with a gift worth $50. That's affordable. AITA.
I love how they're trying to like back some science behind them wanting to have gifts. It's our love language.
Yeah, like as if that's a factored in thing that you always have to think about going to a wedding. Well, they do really respond to touch, so we have to give them hugs.
We're going to revisit this, but I think this is a mentality of like the wedding should pay for itself energy that sometimes people bring to the table. It's sort of looking at it as like, I'm going to outlay whatever, $30,000, which I believe is the kind of median cost of a wedding in the United States. And I expect to yield some return there. Oh, how much money am I going to get back? And it's like, that's not how weddings work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I feel like when you're a child, you associate birthday parties with gifts. Mine. But around, 13, 14 years old, you start letting go of that at some point, and it's just nice to see people.
Yeah, you just want to be with your friends and family.
So if you're still holding on to that, by the time you're getting married, you're in deep water already.
Yeah. Yeah. And like always with the honeymoon fund, like they're always wanting people to donate money. And it's like, you should pay for your plate kind of thing. And I just feel like if you're throwing an event, you just shouldn't expect to get money back for throwing the event that you're inviting people to, that they're your guests.
Yeah.
And they didn't ask you to get married,
I like to have the benchmark if there is cash. A lot of weddings I've been to recently are opting for cash and not gifts, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I like when they give you a value, they're like suggested as whatever.
Oh, really? I've never seen that.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I don't know how they word it, but it can be tough. I don't know.
Like on the
Maybe
registry or something when there's the honeymoon button.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know where
I
I've
say suggested. That's kind of tacky.
Well, I guess I would prefer. Well, I guess I'm contrasting that to mandatory. Maybe I haven't seen it. Maybe I'm lying. But the idea of it being mandatory is very tacky.
Who's checking? Who's checking the value? If it's mandatory, that means you're being checked at the door for your gift value. So you're really just setting yourself up to be bitter because there's no way to actually enforce this.
Right.
My rule of thumb at weddings, and granted, I have the benefit of I have a built-in wedding date all the time now, but anytime we're going, we typically just write a check for $300. That's or we'll Venmo. Well, it's like you invited us to your wedding, and it's like this has to be. We just do. Granted, we've only been to weddings of people we really care about recently. We haven't been to Auntie Schmo and Uncle Who's a What's-Its wedding anytime recently.
Because I always thought it was like 100 a person.
That's reasonable.
See, I'm different than both of you. I do 150, but that's a flat fee. That doesn't go up. If I'm in a couple, no, it's still
really
150.
not per person.
I'm not gonna get 150 for her friend.
What do you mean?
I don't even know you.
Wait, what do you mean her friend?
In other words, if it's a wedding of my friend, then it's 150, of course. And if it's her friend, she can give whatever she wants. But that doesn't come out of
you're not chipping in on that.
Yeah, that's what Max and I do too. Like if it's my friend's wedding, I'm buying the gift. If it's his friend's wedding, he's buying the gift.
Yeah. I mean, if it was both of our friends, I guess they could hit the 300 jackpot. But I got nobody.
We were at a wedding of Jackie's friends, who I'd say like are newer friends of mine, acquaintances.
Sure.
Acquaintances I'm particular to, maybe is the fair word, but we're getting towards being friends, and I chipped in for that. But also, I'm like, hey, I'm at a wedding. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I think this is tacky. I think it's a bad look.
But it's also tacky not to give a gift.
Oh yeah, you got to bring something.
I don't know.
Depends on the invite.
If somebody scans it, I think you should try. But if you really can't, you really can't. I think going is the gift. I would never shame anybody who didn't bring a gift to one of my events.
Your wedding, though?
Well, I'm not gonna. I can't even think about that right now, Shannon.
Yeah, but what event would a waffle party? Like, of course, you're not expecting gifts for that.
I wouldn't be fucking checking. I don't know. I don't have that attitude.
Did anyone bring you gifts there?
What do you mean?
At your waffle party?
I don't know. I'm not. I'm saying that at my wedding, I wouldn't be like, Jake's here with Jackie. Did you get a gift?
Well,
who thinks like that?
At the apple party, we did give you a Fabergé egg, and we still haven't gotten a thank you letter. So that
a Fabergé egg.
I lost the egg.
You lost the Fabergé egg.
Thousands and thousands.
It looked to me like a little egg. I tried to eat it.
It's a big egg. It's the size of a softball.
That's why I was excited. I had a lot of protein. I like it.
You ate it?
I ate it.
Him his protein.
I think maybe what I saw was that it was a registry, and then it said the average price was like 65 or whatever, and that felt like a nice
weird.
Benchmark. I think giving a little bit of information like that's okay, but I think suggesting that it's mandatory is ugly, gaudy, tacky. Don't do it. Would I be the asshole if I put a minimum of $50 gifts are mandatory? I think we agree. It's YTA.
It's YTA.
YTA.
What you could do is kit the little paper clip from the old Microsoft Word tutorial.
Oh,
and
Clippy.
Have Clippy in there with a little voice bubble that says, did you know that most people who aren't cheap fucks get gifts that are $50 at least?
Yeah.
And I think that would make you a really weird asshole.
Yeah, but
love it.
you know.
Is this wedding sponsored by Microsoft 20 years ago?
All right, we got another doozy here. AITA for wanting my bridesmaid to dye her hair. Today, I noticed when my bridesmaid turned her head that she got quite a number of gray hairs. I mentioned this to her and suggested dyeing it before my big day. She refused and said hairdresser appointments are too expensive and she's allergic to box dye. It's really unsightly, and I'm worried it's going to take away from the beauty of the dress I chose for her. Any tips on what I can do? I can't pay for a hair appointment as I've exhausted my bridesmaid budget by now. Wedding is in 10 weeks, and I think her hair is only going to get worse. She's only 30. AITA.
I got a tip. Here's what you do. You find yourself some horse shit and eat it.
Ooh.
That's, I think, the best tip I have for somebody like this. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, it's so fucked up. Take away from the beauty of the dress.
You don't have a great dress then. If somebody's going to see somebody else's hair details and say, oh, that dress is terrible.
Yeah.
Look at that lady's hair.
This is like kind of internalized like misogyny as well. Cause like I just feel like she would never think this about a guy.
That made it easier for me to process this. Because I think you're right. You would just never say this to a man.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, you look like, you know, you got your gray showing, buddy. Like you just would never do it.
Yeah. And why does she think that in 10 weeks the hair is going to get worse?
Because she's letting it happen.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, it keeps growing.
No, your hair's not going to get a bunch of gray hairs in 10 weeks.
It's
more
not-
than
I guess
it
you're
is
right.
It's not like the
now.
Maybe one
Blob.
or
It's
two.
not like a monster movie where it's just, I
Just
can't stop it.
gross.
Gray is growing.
I'm honestly coming around to the point now where I know it's traditionally like men with some gray hair. It's traditionally like, oh, that's handsome. I actually think it's like women with silver and gray hair.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very attractive.
This is not okay. This is dictating the appearance of someone. It's their natural appearance.
No. And some people like really think that when it's their wedding, we've said this a million times, that it's just like they rule the roost and they can do
Yeah, you can
literally
micromanage
anything they
anybody.
want, say anything they want. And it's just so over the top.
It makes zero sense to me. This is insane. I don't think she wants her in the wedding party. I think she's finding an excuse to push somebody out.
Well, also, it's not a gray streak. It's just random gray hairs. No, I would bet you it's just a few gray hairs here and there. Like she probably has darker hair. They're a little bit more visible on
She's
darker
got quite
hair.
a number. Quite a number doesn't sound like to me a couple of vague
I'm not really
strands.
trusting this person's description
No,
of the
Jake,
situation.
playing it as it
though.
lays. Quite a number. That's not a couple. That's not.
No. Listen, she noticed when she turned her head that she has a few of gray hairs.
Yeah, so maybe it's on one side.
Oh, so she just sees her from one angle? No, I'm pretty sure it's just like 10, 15 like gray hairs going on. It's not like she's not doing a salt and pepper vibe, but either way, it doesn't matter. You cannot dictate how someone else is going to look. It's just ridiculous.
I'm not going to go that wholesale on this, but I think it's a natural thing. It's a naturally occurring thing.
Then she needs to pay for it.
If she's not willing to pay for it, I think she's got nothing.
Even so, dyeing your hair for a wedding over a few gray hair, find quite a number of gray hairs.
Thank you.
It's kind of like bringing a fire hose to a water balloon fight. It just seems like a big overreaction to a problem that nobody's looking at anybody except the bride and groom during the wedding, during the ceremony, except for maybe the photographer.
And if she really had a problem with like how it was going to look like in pictures or something, then she could just, if they're even noticeable in the photos, she could just have them a little photoshopped.
Yeah, remember that situation where somebody like wanted to, we
the blue
suggested,
dress.
photoshopping the dress.
don't seem to remember that passed so easily.
Yes, it did. We were on her side about the editing the blue dress.
I don't seem to remember it was that simple. I think that part of it was that she should have been told or consulted.
Yeah.
Just because of how
it
upset
was more
she
nuanced.
Yeah, there was more nuance
I don't
to
think
it.
she's
but-
gonna
I think
notice.
photoshopping it out is also a little bit insulting. Look, I'm willing to back this. Natural. She's not doing anything unusual. It's too high of a standard. I think we agree on this. AITA for wanting my bridesmaid to dye her hair. We're saying YTA.
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 It's not unusual to have gray hairs at a wedding. It is unusual to try to micromanage your friends. That's my Tom Jones impression.
Hey, that was good, Tom Jones. Here we go, folks. AITA for being upset my officiant can't do our wedding anymore because his aunt died. My uncle is supposed to marry us. We get married in June. He just called me and told me that his aunt has cancer and that they asked if he can do the funeral. She's on hospice now, but he said there's a chance he can't do our wedding. I've always wanted my uncle to do my wedding. I'm just so irritated and pissed off. AITA.
Well, I mean, first of all, the aunt of your uncle is like an Uno reverse +4 card. That's a serious, just like gravity
Aunt
swing.
of your uncle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's important.
Is your
that's
uncle.
that's a double layer.
That's your
Yeah.
uncle.
It's
I
your
believe.
great aunt, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is not my forte.
I never know how. Like, I still don't know what a cousin twice removed
It gets
is.
crazy.
It's
yeah,
wild.
It's so
Now.
It's
complicated.
weird.
But yeah, I'm guessing that this would be her great aunt, but
She don't
perhaps she's just not close with her,
give, yeah, she don't give a fuck about that great aunt.
unless it's by marriage.
I read this one as a total bridezilla. I'm like, yeah, you want your uncle to marry you. That's sweet. That's sweet. But somebody just died. Somebody
Not
died.
yet. Not yet.
Somebody's dying. Somebody's dying. They're in hospice. Not a joke.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, yeah, I'm in hospice. No big. We gonna golf after this?
I don't think you really care about your uncle that much either if you're more, what's her wording, irritated and pissed off than you are sympathetic and wanting to be understanding.
I love that point.
Yeah.
That's your reaction to this?
Listen, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
I think two things can be true at once, though. Like that she can be sympathetic. Like I'm sure she was sympathetic to him on the phone, but she's just like irritated off screen and like, you know.
Okay, yeah, that's
No,
true.
that's not playing it as it lays. She says here, I'm irritated and pissed
She
off.
never said that she said anything to the uncle, though.
She's not getting dinged for what she said. She's getting dinged that I think Jake read that perfectly. She ain't bringing up like, I'm concerned for his loss and I'm sorry he's having to deal with this. She didn't say nothing like that because she don't give a fuck about him. I think you're right.
Disappointed would be a more understandable reaction
Than
here.
pissed off.
Yeah, pissed off is very self-centered. And normally I don't think that feeling a certain way is dingable in these situations. The way you feel is sometimes out of your control. How you respond to those feelings is very much within your control. This one just feels really shallow. It just feels like you just want it a certain way.
No, I'm pushing back on that
Okay.
because she said that she's always wanted her uncle to do her wedding. I feel like that's something very special in your life. That would be like as if you wanted to, get married at, for me, my house in Wildwood or something. It was like so important to me at the Jersey Shore or something like that. Like, I feel like that's actually not shallow. I think that that's really sweet that it's like, I always wanted this. And now I'm upset that I might not be able to get something that I've dreamt of.
My counter is I don't think that wanting that is shallow. I think responding to not getting it with anger at the person who is losing somebody clearly important to them, that's the part that's shallow to me.
Well, she didn't say that she was angry at them though, or that she was like showing anger towards him
Right.
at all. She's just pissed off. And I think you're allowed to feel frustrated
Yeah,
when
you
something
got us
doesn't go
there.
your way.
You're allowed to feel what you
That's what I was-
If
yeah,
that's
yeah,
all
And
yeah.
it doesn't
is.
seem like she's reacting on it. She didn't say, I exploded on him and said, what the fuck? Like, this is my
True.
wedding. You told me that you would do mine first.
So you're allowed to feel upset. You're allowed to
And-
be upset.
And
I
also,
should say.
I do think, like, well, first of all, the uncle did say that there's a chance he can't do our wedding.
Yeah,
so
he was just
didn't
being
say for
thorough.
sure. So he was just letting her know.
Yeah.
Pretty
But
responsible.
I can see being upset about this. Like, shoot, I really did always want this person a huge part in my wedding because he's so special to me. And now he's saying that he can't. And, she hasn't passed away yet. So there is a good chance that he could do both. That would be perfect if he could do both.
You got me. And then I don't think we have anything dingable. It's perfectly normal to feel an ugly emotion. She felt something ugly. It wasn't okay.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I like how you phrase that, Shannon, of ideal situation. He can be there when his aunt dies and can do the wedding.
Hopefully
Same week.
dies,
Bing, bang, boom.
Let's hope she dies now. Die now.
Hopefully they're in the same town so he doesn't have to get an extra flight or anything. Let's try to make it convenient for Unc.
Now, that would have been a sitch. Just like, oh, could you get her on the phone? I would love if I could just kind of put a little bird in her ear about maybe letting go a little bit sooner than
I think you're ready to wrap it up.
You're in
Auntie.
hospice, honey.
I think you're
in hospice. What,
you're in hospice.
You're gonna come storming back. You're gonna have a big rebound.
There's nothing on the horizon,
just
sweetie.
by June.
There's
just
nothing.
by June.
There's nothing there.
Who wants to make it to July?
I just want to see the new pope get. I want to see the new pope.
If that's what you're holding on for, I'm with OP. Get the fuck out.
I think you're right. This is an emotion. It wasn't. It would have been inappropriate to share it.
Did I win
but
you guys
she didn't
over?
share it. You wanted us, Shannon. AITA for being upset. My officiant can't do our wedding anymore because the aunt died. We agree. No assholes here.
Well, no, I mean, obviously the aunt is an asshole.
For dying.
Yeah.
It's so untimely.
Yeah,
No,
please,
a
time your death.
No
brother.
assholes here.
And here is Shannon.
AITA for being upset. People are buying the cheap items on our registry.
Not the fucking forks! I put that there as a test.
Okay. I know I should be grateful for people spending money to attend the wedding, but I won't lie, this is costing a pretty penny and was hoping for some cash gifts. Not expecting it to cover the whole cost, but was at least looking for a pay for your plate situation. I have a honeymoon fund as well as gifts in various prices ranging from $50 to $400 on my registry. So far, a bunch of people have bought gifts around $50 or $100 for couples. Do people often buy from the registry in addition to giving card/cash later? It's just so in my nature to gift heavily at weddings, and it's a little disappointing to see people purchasing the cheapest things on my registry. It's especially annoying for the people who aren't spending any money on travel. AITA?
This is the same person from that earlier situation. It's just after they set a $50 minimum, they're still not happy with the results that they're getting.
Oh, yeah, because these people are actually only getting $50 and now they're upset.
This is such an exhausting way to live your life.
Oh, God,
Like,
yeah.
Please find a better way to get the things that you want, whether it's a fucking KitchenAid, Cuisinart, fucking
like, do
Keurig.
people only get married for gifts? But it doesn't make any sense because you could have just spent the money that you spent
get
on the
the
wedding
gifts
gift,
directly.
get the
Things
gifts that
you
you
want.
wanted.
This is so exhausting, and you're sitting there tracking, and you're having the thought of like, they didn't even travel. How dare they
Yeah.
they got the silverware? It's like,
I do feel like everyone does this though. Like I always feel like people are like judging the gift I got, or like I remember for a little while because Max like doesn't know anything about wedding etiquette.
We always say that about him. Max don't know shit about wedding etiquette.
That's what they say.
Etiquette.
And I had to be like, we were going to some of his friends' weddings, and like I was like, "You're giving them gifts, right?" And he was like, "What? No, like." Why? I went to their wedding. Like,
Honey,
that
it's
should
no
be gift enough.
It's no gift Brian. We call him that because he hates gifts.
Because he hates
he
gifts.
hates gifts.
So, because there's that one rule of like you can
Santa killed
you
his
can
dog.
You can still do it within a year. You have like a year to give them the wedding
What
gift.
the
It's like
Never
that a
heard
rule?
of that.
yeah, it's
There's a
rule.
year floating period?
Yeah. And so I was like, we were still in the year for a lot of them. I was like, you have to like give them gifts. And wait, why was I saying that? What were
I don't
we
know, but
just
I could chew on
talking
this
about?
rule for a while. I like
Yeah,
this.
that's a really convenient one.
Hey,
for
I know
me
you
to hear
got
about.
married 7 months ago. I got you a iguana. That's what I want to do.
And
This box.
and so I
shaking it up.
He's pissed. You better get him into a terrarium.
He's not going to stay in here forever. He's got a claw through already.
Yeah, I bought him 4 months ago, but he killed my nephew, so he's yours now. Go ahead, Shannon.
Sorry, Shannon.
And so I was always thinking like, oh shoot, I just know that they're thinking like, oh my God, Max and Shannon didn't get us a gift. Like I was
Yeah.
just like, it was always, and I kept bothering him like, did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? And then he finally did it. I hope. But again, they were his friends, so it's his responsibility.
Legitimately have pity for people who are doing these little accounting.
Yeah, I don't know if they really were, but that in my mind, I felt like they were probably doing
Well,
that.
and
So
I just think a
tiresome.
key element, if you really are a generous person, a key element of that is not expecting other people to live the way that you do.
Ugh.
If you're generous with the idea that karma is going to give it back to you somehow, that's not being generous. That's just living with absurd expectations.
Yeah, I think just be a good person to be a good person. Why
Right.
do you need to get paid back?
And I think throw the wedding because you want to have a joyous day with your friends and family, not because you're expecting gifts back.
It's for them. It's for them. It's to celebrate you, but it's kind of for them.
And I really
You're
do
just kinda
think
giving them-
that your presence should be the present. I mean, especially for me, like I'm almost always traveling for a wedding
Yeah.
because a lot of my friends are back at home.
If you do a destination wedding in particular, like you've got to consider, like, right, them
Yes.
coming was the gift.
Thousands and thousands of dollars.
Because the point of a destination wedding is to trim out people coming, right? Your goal is to
Probably,
that
yeah.
way we can invite everybody, but they're not
Right.
who's coming to the Bahamas for a 3-hour ceremony.
Sometimes I'm worried though that you end up with the people that you didn't
you
want.
don't want, yeah. That's a good safety precaution to remember.
Yeah.
That's always terrible. I think this is honestly, I feel bad for this person. I just think this is you gotta nip stuff like this in the bud. I mean, I did it. I didn't even drag you guys through it because I realized like nobody likes this. I had an issue with the Airbnb we stayed at together. And people are tired of my Airbnb bullshit and my complaints. And I even pared down my complaint because I was like, you know what? I don't want this to be a capital case. I don't want to go to war. I want to send like a message.
Which one was this, Tucson?
Yeah, because I couldn't get into the hot tub.
You were
And
perturbed.
this is what I realized. I was like, if I go hard on this, it's going to eat up my brain for like days. And so I didn't. I just asked for something very meager. I got what I wanted. It was over.
What was it? What'd you get?
$60. So, that's T-ball for me. And it was great. It was over in like 2 hours. And I didn't think about it all day. And that's my issue with these people. You're exhausting yourself. This is no way to live your life. Why do you want to spend all
You're
day?
taking away the joy of the entire wedding.
It's sickening. It's sickening. Please don't do that to yourself. AITA for being upset at people buying the cheap items on our registry. Yes. YTA to yourself, to them. Stop living your life that way. Figure out a different way to do it.
Mm-hmm. I can understand the frustration a little bit though, because you took the time to have all these things that you put on the registry, and
Don't
you're
put
like
cheap
kind of
stuff on
bummed.
it. If it's going to make you mad to have someone buy it, then don't put it on there.
Yeah, I guess so. But that would be fucked up if she was only putting like 100 plus, because then it's like you're not
A
even giving
Jeep
them the
Wrangler,
option.
please.
Well, I mean, you put a small amount of cheap stuff so that the people who are early are rewarded. And the websites I've used before usually show you everything, but then it's like, ooh, someone already got that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
That's why honeymoon fun kind of is the best way to go, because then like literally you're just getting money.
Just get
because you don't
cash.
have to use it towards the
Honeymoon fun's
honeymoon.
I don't want
Yeah, they don't audit you.
No.
When Jackie and I tie the knot, I don't want dishes. I don't want cutlery. I want either cash or a straight up go-kart. I want the dumbest shit
I'll
you
buy
can
you
give
a
me. You'll
go-kart,
get me a
bro.
good
Yeah, put that on your wedding
I want a
registry.
good
I'll buy you a
go-kart.
go-kart.
I
Can
want
we
one
go
I can take on
go-karting?
the highway in most states.
No, I don't know about that. That's an expensive go-kart.
No, I don't really want a go-kart.
AITA for asking my guest to volunteer 2 hours of work in lieu of gifts. I've had at least 5 local friends who have been friends for years. They just changed their RSVP on my wedding invitation from going to not going.
Uh-oh.
Because I edited the event to suggest people could donate 2 hours of volunteer work in lieu of a gift. I spelled out clearly what jobs we needed help with because no one will be working harder to make this all-day fire and pool party happen. Yeah, what kind of party? It's a fire party. It's going to be a lot of fire. Like a bonfire? No. House
Just
cleaning?
loose fire.
Yeah, loose, wild. What are some of the things? House cleaning, food prep, table and chair setup, decorating, flowers, parking attendant, shuttle driver, lifeguarding the pool and hot tub,
Oh
help
my
transferring
God.
food, tending the fire, being in charge of my Pandora playlist after the musicians are done, and several volunteers to snap a few photos and videos of the whole thing. Oh, and a few hands to help clean up the colossal mess.
Oh my God.
This is a scam.
So tired.
Yes.
I offered to pay those who did more than 2 hours of work $25 an hour and asked those who could not sign up to contribute a suggested donation of $50 per adult to help us cover a fraction of the cost of putting on this party. What? This is a YTA
This
already.
is so complicated.
So your YTA for making us read it. Several people have expressed anxiety about this request, and others may think it's tacky, but I've learned that I need to spell out manners very explicitly for a lot of people in this town. If I don't want them to show up empty-handed, ready to take as much as they can take. Hey guys, come to my wedding. You're all fucking raiders. I suspected my request for contribution is what caused several guests to change their RSVP, and one friend confirmed that this morning. I can't afford $100 to go to your wedding. Here's my response. I can't afford $5,000 to entertain all the takers in this town.
What town is this happening in?
know. It's so specific. Like, this must be a small town or something like that.
This is
It's
like
so
a Huck
crazy.
Finn, Tom Sawyer, getting people to paint the fence white kind of scam.
Yes.
But I don't mean to assume, they're so angry
At the
about
town.
this already. Like, yeah, this is like one of those old timey 1950s, 1960s movies about just the worst town you've ever seen. And by the end of it, it's passably livable because somebody nice comes into town and makes it better. But that person never came in this situation.
Yeah, well, because my mom sent me this entire article of these wedding situations. That's where we kind of came up with this episode. And we were on the phone talking about a bunch of them. And she was like, but what about that one with the volunteer, the 2 hours work? And I was like, I know, wasn't that ridiculous? She's like, no, I thought that was perfectly reasonable.
Oh, God.
That she was like, you don't have to give a gift and you just have to come in and volunteer for 2 hours. I was like, yeah, but like, Mom, the way they were wording it and what they were expecting, a lifeguard at the pool, like, so, they literally just wanted people to do literally everything at this fire party.
There wasn't going to be any guests. It was just going to be
staff.
It was a long
staff.
list. I think I'm starting to get what's going on here because I do follow a couple of the wedding shaming subreddits, and I think this is like, you know, we like and I'm speaking in stereotypes here, but I'm just trying to explain a broader phenomenon, which is like the bridezilla, but it's not quite the bridezilla. The bridezilla is the controlling bride who's micromanaging. I think that's the most classical form. This is the wildly entitled bride. It's almost like, why aren't you helping me already?
Yeah. Well, Danny, she's throwing an entire party for the whole town.
The whole town.
I think that they should chip in on
Right.
that.
Well, and I think the genesis of this is like, these are first of all, I think a lot of them might not realize like it is the average wedding cost is $30,000. So it's like a wedding is already a car. It's a brand new freaking car. Actually, you could get a 2021 Camry hybrid. So I recommend you don't have a wedding.
Yes.
But that's
And
just
it's
my
white.
take. Yeah, and it's white as well. That's a great point. And but anyway, so they're sitting there like, you know, it's the princess moment. It's your big princess moment, and it doesn't click with them that the wedding is not. It's your moment to be celebrated. That's true.
Yeah.
But it's at your own expense.
Right.
Yeah, you're the host.
That's the trade-off.
You're the host. That's the trade-off. Exactly.
Hosting is humility. And I get really
that's good.
fired
I like
up when I see people thinking that hosting makes you the star. If you're
No,
good at it,
yeah.
if you're good at it, there will be a moment
makes
where
you
everybody lauds you.
Yes.
If you're bad at
Yeah,
it,
that's
everybody's
good,
going to
Jake.
eat for free and bounce. And you are not good at it. I will say, I would volunteer to be the lifeguard and show up in like a full lifeguard outfit with zinc on my nose. And during the wedding, just have the whistle ready to go.
Just
Eyes
blow
on the,
it.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what you want from me. I got a job. I got to make sure nobody drowns over there.
Yeah.
Where's the fire guard?
Well, because I also love how she says, because no one will be working harder to make harder on this day than Brad and me. And it's like, yeah, that's the fucking point.
point.
Like, you're the bride and the groom, of course. Like, what do you expect your guests to be working? It's insane. Although she did say that they could give a donation of $50 instead of having to work. Isn't that it?
Yeah, I mean, I understand your mom here because it's not that bad of a deal to trade 2 hours of work
Yeah.
for $50. That's not terrible. I wouldn't want to do it, but I can understand like why some people would be down, especially if it sounds like this is kind of a towny situation.
Right.
But in the end, I just think this comes off very poorly.
Yeah.
And actually, I got a more general zoom out on this. Watch the mass texts. Watch the mass communication. I actually think this would have played a
Is that
lot
what she
better.
did?
It kind of sounded like this went out to everybody, right?
Well, remember,
She had 5 local friends change their RSVP because I edited the event.
Yeah, so it
she-
must have been a Yeah, it had to
Facebook
have
or
been
whatever.
some
Some
kind of
public
digital
DMing.
thing.
The
Yeah.
bachelor party guy who wanted to bring his friends to Vegas 2
Oh,
weekends in a
yes,
row. That was a
yeah.
mass text. And that makes it everyone versus you immediately. So
Instead
I'm
of
right there
reaching
with
out
you. Yeah.
personally.
Exactly.
And I can see how it's just like, because then it says down here, one of her friends saying like, I can't afford $100 to go to your wedding, and it's like, well, usually that's how much like the gift should be anyway. So were you not even planning on getting her a gift? And you can't just come in to help like set up a couple chairs or do a thing for a couple hours and then go home and get ready. Like I can kind of understand her point of view. I just think she's extremely entitled in the way
I think
that
this
she's
might
her
have been on
attitude
top
about
of
it.
the gifts. I think that this might have been
No,
it's
said
not.
No, it's in
instead.
lieu.
In lieu. In lieu.
But I
Okay.
think that the way this happens is, look, I've never, you know more about this than me, Shannon, for sure. But like, if you get a bridal party, right? You get all these motherfuckers or whatever, and then they're there.
Yes.
And they kind of gotta help with this shit because they're there.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh
You
my
don't-
gosh, when I
you
was
don't-
my best friend's maid of honor, it was like a part-time job that whole
Yeah.
year. It's
that whole year, right? But she doesn't bring it up to you that way. She's not like, Shannon, I need you to do X, Y, Z,
No.
ABC. What she says, it's like, I want to bestow you the honor of being my maid of
Yeah.
honor, and we're gonna go.
And we
to a
wanted to do
bachelorette
all that
party,
stuff for
right?
her.
And you exactly,
Yeah.
And it's just there's a grace to this, even though it is like essentially indentured servitude. That's how it works. That's how they get you.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
really what it is. Like,
Yeah, but it's like because you love them so much that
Yeah.
you're like so happy to do it and you want to make it special for them because it's their special
Right.
moment in life.
I mean, because I guess I'm trying to relate because I was the guy in charge of the bachelor party for my friend's thing, and it was like no big deal. You know what I mean? It was
Right.
like I booked like a car and an Airbnb. It took like 20 minutes, but
Yeah, I feel like it's less work for the men because we also have the bridal shower. We have I guess that's the only extra thing we have. But
I mean, in terms of the actual setup of the wedding, did you actually help on that? Like put flowers or anything like that, or is that usually the venue?
That was all
the venue
taken
would
care of,
handle that,
yeah.
right?
Or the flower company that you hire,
Right.
like all of that stuff is usually like that was all her. We did like the bachelorette, the bridal shower, and then like on the day we got up early to get our hair and makeup done, and we were all like there for her and support if she needed anything. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen it handled to different varying degrees where I've been in a few wedding parties. I've never been a best man, but I've been in some weddings where the best man is handling a ton, like organizing a lot, planning out the entire bachelor party, like being the point of contact for all the organization, a lot of work. And then I've seen other times where the groom is handling all that because he's just grateful to have his friends going to a destination to celebrate him for a weekend. So I think that it really just depends where you're at. But I'm starting to think that this is actually the daughter of an evil mayor and that she's just expecting the town to work for her. Because this is so about the contempt that she has for this town and
takers, the takers in this town.
Small towns are, man, that's a different entity.
my family's money and oil well has been keeping this small one-horse burg upright for the nigh on a century. And you will lifeguard at my wedding. Like, what? What venue is this happening at?
AITA for asking my guests to volunteer 2 hours of work in lieu of gifts. I think this was potentially not the transactionally speaking, not that crazy, but this is a graceless social faux pas that reeked of entitlement.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you hate your town didn't help your case
Right.
either.
And
You
where she
peons.
Yeah.
And where she says, like, I can't afford $5,000 to entertain all the takers in this town. No one's asking you to get married.
Nobody said.
Nobody. And if you want to get married, go to the fucking courthouse. Like, nobody's
Right.
asking you to throw this party.
I really want to know what venue this is happening at, because why doesn't the venue have its own lifeguard?
I assumed it was their house.
I think it's at their house. Like, because
Okay.
I cut this down a good amount. And it was also like even more unhinged, the stuff that it was like the second half of it, because I almost feel like they live on a commune or something, the way the rest of it was written, but it was too much.
this fucking town. This is a cult town.
Yeah.
I think we agree it's YTA.
Very
Here.
unhinged YTA.
Please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod.
And follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Boom. All right, Shannon, take us out.
Would I be the asshole if I dropped out of my friend's wedding because she tried to scam me out of money?
Love a scam, Sitch.
A friend of mine asked me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. The bride had picked out all of our dresses. The dress itself was lovely, but a bit expensive at $400 each.
Oh, boy.
The bride asked the maid of honor to coordinate with all of us for fittings and alterations and such, and as one of her duties. The maid of honor decided she would pay for all of the dresses on her credit card because she wanted the air miles, and she would pay her back, and we would pay her back directly. None of us minded, especially since she was going to let us pay her back in installments if we needed, and I definitely needed. I wasn't able to go with everyone to pick up the dresses and planned to go by myself the following weekend. The maid of honor said she would pay for mine on the group trip, but to call her if there was any issues with the dress and she would handle it. I get there and the dress fit perfectly. The shop owner scoots off while I'm changing back into my regular clothes. As I'm walking out the door, another person that's working there yells out, "Hey, that would be $200. I was stunned and totally mortified. I apologized and explained how I thought that the maid of honor had paid for it the weekend before. Well, the shop owner came running back over to defuse the situation and confirm the dress was already paid for. I turned to walk out and then suddenly realized that she said $200 and not $400. Long story short, the dress was only $200. When I confronted the maid of honor about it, she spilled the beans. Apparently, the bride and maid of honor plotted together to charge us double to help pay for the bride's dress. I let the rest of the bridesmaids know, and now we want to drop out. Would I be the asshole?
This is villainy on levels we rarely see on this program.
It's a program.
What the fuck are you doing when you like the cabal, the scheming that you had to I'm trying to think of the right words. The conspiracy. This is
so fucked up.
This is carny shit. This is carnival highway robbery. It is
Carnival shit.
Yeah, I'm curious who the maid of honor is to the bride.
Snidely Whiplash. It sounds like.
Doesn't really change the story at all. I'm just curious, like, if it was her sister.
And this is what we'll do, you see. We'll tell them all the dresses are 400.
I know. I wonder whose idea it was, too.
Yeah, this is dirty. This is really, really dirty. I think there's certain contexts where it can be okay to profit off your friends, but lying about the price of something is a scam. Well, if you're, charging for your labor or something like that.
Oh, well,
if you want somebody to lifeguard at your wedding, that's a reasonable ask.
But yeah, this is just really a scam. I mean, you're charging what the market isn't charging for something, which is like, and there's no reason except the fact that they trust you. And you're exploiting their trust.
It's such an absurd cost too. The $200, it's a full 100% overcharge. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I can understand if you're, if just off the top of my head, like when we were in college, if somebody was the person to pick up beer, it's okay for them to put on and you always make it clear that you're doing it, but it's like, hey, I had to go and get it. I had to use, a fake ID for it. I'm putting on an extra $5 finder's fee. That's reasonable. You're taking on a certain amount of risk. You're putting in a certain amount of layer and you're being transparent. Transparent is the key part there.
And I would say you want to do that at the front of the transaction when you're getting the money, not on the backside, because then it's like, all right, guys, beer's $100 for the 20 pack. So, yeah, I mean, speaking of college, a friend did do this to me. I was moving into this apartment, and the friend was like, "Yeah, I am getting the master bedroom, but I found the place, so you're paying the same price as me. It's a pretty good deal." And I was like, "Okay, that doesn't seem that crazy. Like you found it, so you get a bathroom." But then come to find out, I was actually paying $50 more than him for an inferior room, and I was like, "You crooked piece of shit."
So fucked up.
So we weren't friends when I moved in. So
you were just a random.
Yeah, I was a random to him.
You were also adult juniors. You were like 19, 20 when this happened.
Yeah, we were young.
Yeah.
He paid me back. He was good for it. That's how he explained it. I mean, under different circumstances, I think the problem is that if he just hadn't said that, he would have been on much. If he had said like, that's the price, like it's none of your business what I pay. But the fact that he said that,
that he said
gave
we're
me
paying equal.
Exactly. That gave a false sense of fairness, which was more persuasive, you know? So I do think in general, if you're living with them, that's dicey. You don't want to be exploiting someone you're living with. Sounds dirty.
And you don't want to be exploiting your 7 best friends that
Not
you were
anymore.
having in your wedding. And now they all like, oh, that's so terrible.
I don't blame anyone for backing out after this because Shannon, like you were saying, being in a wedding, there is time consumption there. Even if you're just, you know, part of the wedding party and you're not on the the maid of honor. I always forget what they're called. I almost called her the woman of honor, which I guess also makes sense.
The woman of bestness.
The man of virtue.
Yeah.
I think that the part that's funniest to me about this though is that she immediately caved when confronted with it. Like that there was no, I guess, I don't know if that speaks to their character or their lack of will to commit to something of just like, oh fuck yeah, you got me. We totally fucked you. We fucked you real hard. And I'm not even sorry about it. We're not giving you the money back.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, is this just like, I think this has to be related to the same thing because I do think weddings tend to bring out the worst in people.
Yeah. People who aren't cut out for putting together events, it's really stressful. And some people, not that it makes you less or, you know, inferior or superior or whatever. Some people just aren't good at it. And I think when you have to do it, when you're not cut out for something, I think I see this in sales too. People who aren't great at sales and who kind of cave and buckle under the pressure, they're the ones who do skeezy sales things because they want to get out from under the pressure as quickly as possible.
That makes sense.
If you're not cut out for something, you'll take shortcuts, and that can usually often fuck somebody else over.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like make your budget fit the things that you're getting into your budget instead of being like, how can we make our budget bigger by scamming other people?
That's where I was going to go. It's like this, you know, it's kind of an inherently narcissism fostering event. You're the center of the event as the bride. And it's all about appearances. It's all about looks. And so many of these situations come back to controlling the appearances of what's happening. And I think it's a reality check for a lot of people. Throwing a wedding is expensive. And by the way, on the other side of this, a notorious scam zone. Never tell anyone you're buying things for a wedding if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
It's not for a wedding.
Yeah, don't say
it's for a wedding. It's a birthday party.
Yeah.
They don't need to know.
You got to walk in and act like you don't give a shit what this is for. Like, you know, I use dresses at my mechanic shop to clean up oil rags.
Yeah.
They absorb good. I'll give you $5 for the whole lot. Start there. Start low and work your way back up.
That's how Jake got banned from David's Bridal.
Yeah. And Men's Warehouse. I tried the same thing over there. They saw right through.
You would think a warehouse would be open to a mechanic.
And the guy from the commercial was there and was just like, let me tell you, I've seen a lot of garage scams in my day. That's the weakest one. I don't like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think people get bigger than their britches here, and they don't want to accept the fact that, like, you know, maybe you can't afford the ridiculous wedding and the fancy looking thing and whatever it may be. So look, in the end, the people are there to celebrate you and try to make them feel like guests. And what was the phrase you said? Hosting is an act of humility.
Yeah.
And the event, you want it to be about you. So why would you ever want to do stuff that makes people resent you and not want to be celebrating you? You need to be a gracious host so that people are excited to be there for you.
Yeah. Deep down,
Let me
think
say
maybe
this.
There's some self-resentment.
I've been to a wedding
here.
at the Ritz-Carlton. I've been to the wedding, son of a billionaire. I've been to a wedding that definitely cost at least $300,000. My favorite wedding I've been to, though, I think it cost $30,000, which isn't, I know that's not cheap, but it was just fucking really nice. It was in a vineyard and it was quiet and it was beautiful because the venue is beautiful. So I feel like with good strategy and timing and patience, you don't need to blow, you know, too much money.
No.
I was at a wedding where they did a bride and a groom cake, and the groom cake was shaped like the Millennium Falcon. I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
So that probably cost about $1,000.
I don't know, man.
Please, Jake.
I just know it tasted fucking cool.
Get a Star Wars cake, and you are off to the races.
Cool.
Tasted and looked cool.
It tasted cool.
Would I be the asshole if I dropped out of my friend's
icy
wedding?
hot in there.
Dude, what? Icy hot?
Yeah, they put
said the
ice.
cake
Oh, it tasted cool. Oh god.
I was eating it. Just
Szechuan.
like, this is a
It
cool
was
fucking
Szechuan cake. Would I be the asshole if I dropped out of my friend's wedding because she tried to scam me out of money? I think we agree wholeheartedly. This is NTA, and they are. This would give me the ick.
Oh my god.
A big
yeah.
ick. I'm out.
Ugh.
I'd need to cool off and not see you for a while before I can pick this friendship up again.
Totally. I know. Yeah. Would you guys even go to the wedding?
I'd probably be out. It would depend on how they handled the fallout from it. That would be key.
Yeah.
You got to hit the floor on this. You look bad.
Yeah.
Super bad. But hey, at least she's still going to get the air miles, though, because she did charge it to her credit card. Oh, never mind. No, that doesn't work because it wasn't $400 each. Forget it.
All right, guys, that's the app. Much love, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Oh, wow.